Welcome, one and all fellow fans of Clash of Clans. Super excited today to bring you the first of a two-part episode of my interview with Darian, the community manager of Supercell's Clash of Clans, talking about all things update. So yes, we'll talk about the coming update, about the big update later on this year, and about Town Hall 13. Let's not delay any further and get right into it. Darian, thank you so much for joining me once again. Super excited to be talking with you.
Thanks for having me. Galon, I always love being on your show.
Well, I
love great to be back.
I love having you, and we're definitely full of questions this time and let me just preface this by, obviously everybody is excited for the World Championships, and then everybody and their brother and sister is excited for updates, and we've been promised two between now and the end of the year, and the World Championship. So I feel like it's a crazy busy time for you guys over on the Clash team, probably.
It is. So one of the exciting parts about this year is that we've never done a World Championship. We've never had the opportunity to really prove who is the best clan in the world, at least from an official perspective. So a lot of our attention has been going to this, but we do want to be clear that, we're not creating an esports, movement with the game. It's not. This is the whole World Championship is meant to be a tournament system designed for the community, for the players, which is why we've kind of kept it almost grassroots level. We wanted it to be approachable by anybody. And a good example of this is one of the clans that was in one of the qualifiers. I believe it was Blaze JP. Mm-hmm. They didn't even know about the qualifiers. They just competed in the clan war leagues and got an invitation, and they weren't even trying for it. So the fact that any clan that does well can compete in this championship, we want to keep that approachability to this. We want it to be something that, it's not like the NFL or the NBA, these are lofty goals of sportsmanship I will never be able to attain. We want this to be something that pretty much anybody can sit down and do.
Cool. So esports-ish, but not like hardcore esports where only these absolute elite 0.01% of players have a chance.
Correct. So. And even though there are some pro esports teams coming as a result of this, like Tribe Gaming, right, Team Kessel, these are things that we want to look at for next year and how we want to handle pro sports teams versus clans that are coming up from the actual game itself. And these are discussions that we're still having. And I think we're pretty excited about the future of what we want to do with Clash of Clans and the Clan Wars. But a lot of our attention has been focused on that. But yes, we do have two more updates planned for the rest of this year. One of them is coming this month, and the other one is coming towards the end of the year, and we can touch upon a few details of each.
Okay. Well, so the one thing I've been talking about recently, and I just kind of popped in my head a week or so ago, was the idea that we've got an update coming this month, and we also have the World Championships coming this month. So yes, just like my common sense said, wait a minute, they're not going to do a bunch of changes to the game or the game balance right before a World Championship. So I'm anticipating that this update will kind of avoid new troop type things and balance changes.
So we've got 3 new Town Hall levels coming. No, I'm kidding.
I love it.
I'm sure how many players would be bursting veins in the competition for that. No, you are correct. With being so close to the World Finals, that this update is going to be, saying it's light on content is not a fair description of this update, but the amount of player-facing content will be minimal. In other words, no troop levels, no building levels, and largely because we don't want to affect the World Finals. We want, especially given that there's only a few weeks left in this month, it's unfair to the competitors in the finals that they only have a couple weeks to adapt to the new metagame.
Makes sense. Especially I hear they're out there practicing hours and hours a day, trying to base build, trying to be able to defend against the current meta. And if the meta were to change right before the World Finals, that would just throw all that work out the door.
Yeah, and especially with $1 million prize pool on the line, it would be unfair to them.
Yeah, that is definitely a lot of money. So then the one thing we have heard for sure is that Global is going away. You guys are getting rid of Global at this next update release.
Yes. So we did post, or at least for me it was brief, but everybody knows I'm pretty long-winded. So we did post a description as far as like some of the superficial reasons on why we're closing it. Part of it, a lot of players thought was because we couldn't implement a profanity filter. And profanity had very little to do with one of the reasons. It was a contributing factor, but it was a very minute one. A lot of it just came from just how many player support agents were required to police the global chat, answering tickets of abuse, of fraud, of so we work with multiple law enforcement agencies around the world, and we have to investigate when we feel a threat is credible. And even if someone's trolling, like, oh, I'm going to go blow up Supercell, or I'm going to shoot my neighbor, or stuff like that, if they're saying it in global chat, we have to contact the authorities. And we contact the Finnish police. The Finnish police will work with their equivalents in other countries, and a wellness check does happen. And more often than not, yeah, it is usually just someone trolling in the chat. But another fear is like, what if someone's being swatted?
Right.
So we have no way of verifying that. At least from an in-game perspective, all we can do is our due diligence and responsibility of reporting them to law enforcement agencies. So that's one aspect of it. Another one is the amount of fraud that goes on. Like how many people fall for, I will give you a free account if you give me your email address.
Yeah, I've heard that one a lot. Yeah.
Yes. So, and there are a lot of players who, simply just don't understand that you're not supposed to give your account information away. And they think they're getting something for free. And, if something, the saying, if something sounds too good, it usually is. So, and unfortunately, yeah, there are a lot of young players who are being taken advantage of in this regard. So the amount of account recoveries that we have to do, and a lot of times we have to ban that player's account for account sharing. So it's that whole process is very toxic to the players. Another one is of trying to limit child predators and sexual predators. So a lot of these predators are very charismatic, very savvy, and because they know we don't monitor clan chats, they try to lure people into their own clans, and these unsuspecting players are being groomed by these predators.
Oh, wow.
And by the time it gets back to us, this may have been going on for weeks or months, and they may have been able to convince that person to be able to chat offline instead on Discord or Skype or some other social media. So by that point, the chat's no longer in our game, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Right. So, I mean, do you anticipate that some of the problems we see in global may migrate more into clans once this change takes place, though?
It would help mitigate a lot of the fraudulent or predatory activity, because at least in a clan chat where there's more people. So, I mean, if you look at a clan, most clans are a group of people who have been playing with each other for whether a short duration of time or longer duration of time. And therefore, a lot of these predators or fraudulent actors may not be as bold in a peer environment where, the people know each other. In global chat where, sometimes you get assigned a random server, you may never see the same people twice again.
Exactly.
So because it's such a wider audience, it feels less consequential for these kinds of activities. Whereas clan, that clan chat stays a whole lot longer, so there's a lot more recent record of what goes on.
Oh, that's a good point. And it's more a little self-policed by the leaders and co-leaders that are in a clan.
Exactly.
Hopefully some responsibilities taken by those that are going to start or lead a clan.
Exactly.
So, okay, well, that's good. And I totally understood. I mean, it's a tough situation because, a lot of players think that global is a great place to get a girlfriend, which is a bad idea. But a lot of other players think that global is a great place to find a clan, which has been kind of a good idea, or clans trying to find members. So
right.
You guys have worked on this as well, though.
So yes. So kind of touching back on the sunsetting global chat, this is something that we've been planning for a while. But we also acknowledge that global chat is where a lot of clans recruit a lot of players from. Heck, half of my clan I recruited from global chat. So I'm fully well aware of how useful it is as a tool when it's used properly. But we wanted to make sure, so when we close global chat, come in the next update, we wanted to make sure that recruitment ability is still available to clan leaders and other clans or players looking for clans. So the new clan recruitment tool that we're implementing in the game will make that whole process a whole lot easier. It's a much more intelligent tool that lets you search by play style. I don't want to give the full details just yet because it's a pretty complex system. We're still kind of fine-tuning a few of the dials and knobs on it. But as a player, you'll be able to look for clans that suit your play style, and clans will be able to do the same. If you're a particular type of clan, whether let's say you're a clan games type of clan or war league type of clan, you'll be able to look for players that have the same kind of play style as you do.
Really? So clans will be able to look for players?
Yes.
And then they'll be able to send them invitations to their clan? Is that?
You will be able to send invitations to players.
Wow. Okay, so leaders could actually spend time using this search tool and finding potential players that match what they're looking for.
Correct.
Wow. Okay,
And
well, that's nice.
And we'll get into the fine-tuned details. So we've got a dev update video coming in the next week or so, and that'll go into the kind of do a walkthrough, not a tutorial, but just kind of a glimpse overview of how it works. It's a pretty robust tool. We're pretty proud of it. There is some machine learning that goes on in the background to make sure that it's matching the right kind of players. But there are also some player-facing stuff and clan-facing stuff that you guys will be able to set in the system as well to make sure you guys are optimizing those searches.
Wow. Okay, so it's a lot more than just a couple extra buttons to click or unclick there. So you guys have really spent some serious time on this then.
Oh yeah, we basically sourced several teams to help out with this. It's a very robust, very complex, intelligent system, and like I said, this is one of the reasons why the content is so light in this update. Apart from not affecting the World Finals, but a lot of effort went into this to make sure that clans had an effective recruitment tool when global chat went away.
Well, that's good to hear, and I think a lot of people will be a bit relieved, especially when they see it in action, because it is a big recruitment tool taken away. And I realize there's other places like the Supercell forums or my Discord, discord.gg/GaladonGaming, or other people's Discords as well, where you could go and look for a clan and talk to like-minded people who are fans of Clash, and it's probably a relatively safe place to go as well, especially if you go to Discord servers that you know of, like, established.
But the big problem with that is, and I use the forums, one of the things I said on the forums and Reddit is that maybe only 1% of players visit, not even 1% of players visit the forums or visit Reddit. Not even 1% of the players, or maybe 1%, I don't have Discord stats, maybe 1 or 2% of players out of hundreds of millions of players globally may use Discord. But, some regions don't have access to these tools. So, for example, China doesn't have access to YouTube or Reddit. So it's not like they can go onto Reddit and look for a clan there. So we needed a natively built-in tool that was much more effective than using global chat.
Makes sense. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Definitely excited about that. But you know what else I'm kind of excited about, Darian, is that, we were promised 2 updates this year, and you've told us that the first update is a little bit light on content. So it just kind of leads to reason that the second update should be pretty heavy on content. I mean,
it is massive.
So, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the next Town Hall level, Town Hall 13, and that it seems like it's due pretty soon. I mean, if you talk to the players out there, most players think that means that this next big update after this one in October is going to be Town Hall 13.
13 is an unlucky number.
Not for everybody.
No, it's not. Let's see.
And unfortunately, we have to wrap it up right there for today. But don't worry, part 2 is coming tomorrow. And of course, the earliest and most accurate update information always. So stay tuned, stay subscribed, stay notified. Get out there, have a fantastic rest of your day. Be kind to people, animals, and the planet. I'll see you all back here again tomorrow for Darian's Full Attack. More Full Attack. Darian's part 2.
Who's this blowhard Darian? Sounds a bit of a know-it-all. Oh, I own Supercell. I know everything. Blah, 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 blah.